You may recall a couple of months ago, there was just an absolutely horrifying incident for a local man, a UPS driver, who was just trying to make a delivery, and at the property at which he was delivering, 5 pit bulls came out of nowhere.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, I've been attacked by 5 pit bulls. I'm a UPS driver.
Where are you at?
I am on 15514 116th Street.
Do you need medical aid?
Yes, I'm big out of vein. I'm bleeding profusely. And
Okay.
I'm getting. I can't get to you, but I'm going to need it.
Okay, I'm getting paramedics on the line with us. Hold on, okay?
That UPS driver is Kevin Backlund, and in his first interview since that incident, he is speaking exclusively with us and joins me in studio this afternoon. And Kevin, I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your story with us, because I think it's a really important one, an illustrative one, and one that needs to be heard by a lot of people.
Well, again, on behalf of myself and my family, we're so grateful for all the light that you have brought to this situation that is just, a terrible situation to live through, and certainly that hopefully that nobody else will either have to live through this type of an attack.
Yeah, I hope that something very positive comes out of all of this for you, because I know it's been a nightmare. Let's do a little more chronologically. Tell me a little bit about your background, because you're an athlete, you were in law enforcement, right? Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, again, I'll just keep it as brief as possible. Played basketball through high school and college. Tried to maintain the highest level of fitness because of the activities I involved with. Became a state trooper and had excellent defensive tactics instruction, and carried that defensive training on the outside with Hapkido and Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And an opportunity came up that to be with UPS, where I originally was just doing hazmat. And an opportunity came to drive, and I tried it, and it was the group of guys that I ended up with that just was just a good group of guys that I elected to stay with it.
Okay, but law enforcement, martial arts guy, a very fit guy. So you are out making deliveries, and you roll up to this house down Pierce County?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And I know it's painful to relive, but would you tell me what happened that day? Just kind of take me through it.
I mean, I'm going to just, again, keep it pretty brief without going into reliving the event, but just simply as I approach the residence, as I do with every residence that's has a gated fence or a gated driveway, I make my presence known by, as I'm rolling up, honking the horn several times, trying to bring attention that I'm there, getting out. Looking for a human presence, rattling the gate, doing basically our protocol.
Sure.
I sensed no danger based on my background and training and field experience, and entered the yard approximately 75 feet into the property.
And the gate is unlocked?
The man gate that was approximately 30 feet east of the driveway. My best recollection, without looking at pictures, yes, was unlocked, but the chain link securing the driveway was not.
Okay.
And as I said, based on my experience, training, and background, I sensed no danger. And approximately 75 feet into the property, as I was approaching the garage, the man door on the garage, again, that the door that you open and close with a knob, had a sign that said, guard dog on duty, singular, and showed the head of a German Shepherd. And the moment that I brought my eyes back to walking level, there they were, 4 pit bulls taking positions around me, and it was on. And it's being a dog guy, all I wanted to do was deter, and I gave this distinct striking blows to get them off, because it wasn't 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3. It was all 4 at once.
And when they operate in a pack, first of all, I can't even imagine how terrifying that would be before the attack. But do they encircle you? Do they work in a pack mentality?
I've never been faced with a pack mentality before. However, on my scenario, they had encircled me on all four sides.
Wow.
And as I said, I didn't hear them. I didn't see them. They just appeared. And the fight, not just the fight, but the fight for my life was on.
So they rush you at essentially the same time.
When I brought my eyes back to walking level, because the sign that stated beware of dog was well above my shoulders, they were just feet. I mean, as soon as I brought my eyes down, my position was frozen and it was on. And it was now, getting four dogs that had sunken their teeth into my lower body, my quads, my hamstring, my knee. And, not only just getting all four off with all my background and training and scraping for, every ounce of effort to make these dogs, stop or retreat and to, look for a place of safety.
And like I said, I can't imagine the terror of the moment. Do you immediately think that you're going to die?
No, I'm.
Are you too consumed in the fight?
I'm consumed in the fight.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we heard in the 911 tape that you were able to get up on a flatbed trailer, and the dogs. How severe were your injuries as you got up on that flatbed?
So the attack is on. I identified this utility trailer and had to climb over the gate. My blows were striking enough to get them all four off, which bought me approximately a second to a second and a half, and which was enough time to make me get a step and get halfway up the gate. The largest pit bull, which was my approximation, was 107 pounds, latched onto my knee, my left knee and left hamstring, which lugged it down, and I gave a very decisive blow to the eye, which it didn't phase it. And I figured, okay, I'm going to have to carry him in. And as I'm climbing, I noticed as soon as I get to the top and come over, I have another pit bull on my left ankle on my boot. And so I brought two of them into the trailer with me. I used my right leg to hold the pit bull on my left ankle down so he couldn't get up, and I had to attempt to release the largest one on my hamstring and knee. And as soon as I, used techniques to get him to release the bite, I picked him up and over my head and threw him out, and then went to the smaller one that I had secured with my right leg and used the technique to have him release, and did the very same thing to him. Took higher ground on top of the trailer after that and got off the 911.
Here's a little bit more of that.
Are you back in your rig?
No, I'm trapped on a trailer. I'm bleeding profusely on my left leg. They got to be.
Okay, police are gonna get going. They gotta get there before the fire. But I want you to find a cloth, any type of cloth.
I can't get out there. As I said, they surrounded me.
Right, but in your trailer, I want you to. Is there a trailer in your cloth? A cloth in your trailer. Okay.
And I understand the dispatcher doesn't have a clear sense that this is a flatbed trailer that was not your rig and that you scrambled up on. And as I listen to that, first of all, you're amazingly composed when you are, in the potential of bleeding out through all of that. I'm assuming that's your law enforcement training that I'm hearing there, Kevin.
It is.
Okay. And so now a little more, because the 911, here's just the last few keeps of that one.
Okay.
I need help.
Yeah, keep yourself safe. We have the police started and the fire department will be responding. If you can, wrap it up, okay?
I can't hear you with the barking.
Right. If you can, wrap it up and hold pressure on it. We're starting help for you.
I'm going to try.
Okay. And so they did dispatch help. How long before the first responders arrived, Kevin? Roughly.
In my mind, from what I saw on the from when I scanned the package and the attack happening moments after that, and when I first came through the aid car, it was over 37 minutes, and my belief the fight lasted for approximately 33 minutes.
Really? 33 minutes you're grappling with these pits?
Well, remember, I was on the fight of my life before I was able to get the 911 call off, and I can only estimate on how long that was, giving decisive blows to get 4 dogs off me to crawl in up a trailer with 2 on me.
Yeah.
And, removing those dogs. So I wasn't the clock. That type of clock was not going in my head of
I
saying,
get that.
when is help going to get here? When is help going to get here? I was too busy trying to protect myself and to keep myself alive.
And as the help arrives, it's been well chronicled what happened. There was some belligerence from the property owner, right?
Well, there was a woman outside of the gate, and this is at the point in time during the fight. I had lost a substantial amount of blood. They never hit an artery, but they got my veins. And so the blood was going down to my legs, but it wasn't returning to my heart and seeping out of my legs. I was, both of my boots were off at this point. I was standing in my own blood, which actually kind of secured my footing because it gets very sticky.
Sure.
But when I noticed this woman, she was, yelling at me and over the dog's, continuous barking, and I couldn't understand why she wouldn't help me. And her only words was, I was trespassing, I deserve to die, and she was going to shoot me. And if anything, it kept me breathing. And
she knows you're a UPS driver,
Yeah.
right? You're wearing your Browns
Yes.
and all of that.
Trucks parked right out front. Couldn't be more clear.
And there's a package they had ordered.
Yes.
That's just unbelievable. Okay, so the rescue truck rolls up, and she won't open the gate for it.
No. I see Ording Valley Fire Department Ford Explorer roll up. And
Are you just thinking, thank you, God?
well, yes, because moments before I had realized that these dogs are not backing down. I am not exhausted. I am weak. So my
You're losing a lot of blood.
my striking blows are like, it's like I'm poking my fingers at them, and they sense that. And for the first time in my life, out of everything that I have, dangerous situations I've faced as a state trooper, the first time in my life, I had what I define as an impending feeling of doom. And I realized that I'm not winning. I can't win. And this is just not the way that, I want to die today.
And you're a married guy. Do you have kids?
Yes, 2 boys.
How old are they?
Hunter is 22 and Brock is 19.
Okay. All right. So are you thinking about your wife and your boys, or are you just still too consumed by the fight for your life?
I am, but when I hit that point, as I defined as impending feeling of doom, there is a picture that my wife gave me that hangs in my weight room when we were first dating, and it's framed. And the quotation on the frame states, "What is important in this life is spending my life with you." And to have this fear and this grief come over me like I did, that was what came into my mind, thinking, this is a picture I may not see again.
Can't even imagine that. Fire and rescue's arrived. The woman who owns or is on the property is screaming at you. She's screaming at the rescue crew as well.
So the fight's continuing, trying to get in the trailer, and I'm, doing the best I can, but I have a renewed sense of hope now that I see, now that the Ording Valley Fire Department is there.
Yeah.
And I see a conversation going on between those two. I can't really hear it because the dogs are continually to bark and trying to get at me. The next thing I know is that the 4x4 Ford Explorer comes blasting through the chain link gate, and I mean it's it's like Jack Reacher. The gates just get blown open. And he comes up to me and says, jump on my hood. Well, the dogs had an angle, and I couldn't. I was able to pivot on my left leg, but I couldn't strike to use it as a weapon or if I had to. And I advised him I couldn't. So he made another maneuver and came right alongside of me with his window down, passenger side window down. The dogs are trying to get in the back end of his car, scraping at it, and his driver's side. And I did not a Fosbury flop, but it wasn't far from it, diving into the front seat passenger through the passenger window.
But the dog was latched onto your leg. One of them was still latched on
as I made my maneuver. He got a hold of my left ankle again. Now the nerves are gone, so I knew it was there, but I didn't suffer. And with my right heel, that was still, and I gave due to the shot of adrenaline that came into me once I saw that help had been there, I gave a good enough blow to get him off, and then dove into the front seat of the Ford Explorer.
Man. Okay. How grievous were your injuries?
Oh, extremely. So I'm going in and out of consciousness in the aid car because I don't remember getting put in the aid car. And then I'm in the aid car. I'm not feeling any pain. And I see all these lines in me. And the next thing I know, I'm at Good Samaritan Hospital, and Dr. Gates and his surgical team had been called in. And when the surgery was just under 5 hours, and I knew that I had 3 layers of stitching staples to the bone, left ankle, left knee, and hamstring, staples on top of that, and
you're just exposed to the bone.
Yeah, and I'm speaking on my left side only. It was 133 stitches on my left side alone. The right side, quad and calf, suffered just multiple punctures, and they each required 7 to 8 stitches to close. And after the fact, I think I still got a tooth on my right palm from one of the blows initially that I gave to release. In fact, it was the largest one that was on my left hand. I still got part of the bone in there, and that took
the bone's still in there.
Yeah, and this was, believe it or not, the most painful out of all of them, and it's still kind of there, and now it's really healed. But yeah, there's a little tooth in there.
So you have a little
reminder.
Yeah, memory of it. You told me before we went on the air about a moment at the hospital when your wife saw the extent of your injuries.
I did, and as I said, I've had, just extensive and outstanding education, training, field experience, especially my defensive tactics instructor at NHP. These guys were relentless, honest, but not just me, everybody.
Sure, yeah.
Everybody in the academy.
Yeah.
And you just couldn't have better, or I couldn't have had better training. And and I don't like being hurt or beat up or pushed around, but I've been through enough that I'll find a way to survive. It's when the innocent get affected by this, and to say nothing of a person that you not only love but you are in love with, that has to now share in this grief and in this pain, which to me is what I say. Okay, the gloves are off. So
yeah, and I'm sure she had steeled herself for those calls when you were a state patrol guy. She probably didn't expect that call when you were a UPS driver.
If you were going to, I can't even, I still have to, this is one thing I can smile about, that this would have happened to me at this age doing this job.
Yeah.
I can only just shake my head.
Well, I just shake my head at every aspect of this. Chris Davis, your attorney. Chris, you've kind of kept me apprised on this from a legal perspective and come on with me a couple of times in the past few months. You guys have just filed a lawsuit, correct?
That's correct, Dori.
Okay, and what's a part of that lawsuit?
Well, so there are multiple parties and businesses associated with the property where this attack occurred. So one of the things that the lawsuit intends to do is to sort out who's who and what their role was. Mr. Backlund faces a long time of needing medical attention. He's probably going to have some permanency with his injuries, months or even years of ongoing treatment. So there could be a lot of medical expense at stake. So the civil lawsuit is to really hold the defendants, the dog owners, and people responsible for what happened, and then to secure monetary compensation for Mr. Backlund and his family.
Last time you and I talked, you'd identified $3 million in assets on this property, and I said, I'm guessing you're going after them for at least $3 million. Have you put a dollar figure on what this is worth?
Well, the $3 million actually came from one of the dog owners in the 911 call.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I have no idea what the assets are worth. I do know there is insurance, and the insurance companies have contacted me. I have no idea what the coverage is. When it comes to a dollar amount, it's really too soon to know for sure. I always have to assess the case on how a jury sees it. And frankly, doing this type of work for nearly 25 years, I've never had a case where I have had somebody witness the harm and then not do anything, and then
not only not do anything, but actively try to prevent the rescue truck from getting in.
Yeah, it's just reprehensible. And I've had a lot of cases over the years, but nothing approaches that. So I look at the reprehensible conduct involved too. So, I would have no problem asking for millions of dollars in damages in this case. It'd be interesting to hear from your listeners on what they think, but really too soon to know to give you a specific figure right now.
What's the teaching moment here? I mean, it's not just to, exploit your story, Kevin, but, I'll ask you first, Chris. What's the larger message that we are getting out today that can maybe help the public down the road?
So, yeah, and first of all, I'm a dog lover, like many people.
As am I, and as Kevin has said, he is.
Yeah, so, and I support people to own and have dogs, and even I support people to have dogs that may be aggressive as far as protecting your property. But if you're going to have that type of animal on your property, you need to do enough to notify others, and that means put out warning signs, and you need to do your part as a responsible citizen and neighbor to make sure that nobody enters the property or that the dogs are secured in some way, so that an innocent bystander, like a delivery driver, or even, God forbid, a small child that loses the toy in your yard and comes in, that situation. So the bigger message here is that people that have dogs or animals that are aggressive or potentially dangerous really need to do their part to warn other people about coming onto the property and to protect the community from their dangerous or potentially dangerous dogs.
Kevin, I sit here in awe of your strength and your resiliency, and I can't imagine what you've been through. Are there a lot of nightmares still? Have those started to dissipate? When was the attack? What was the date of the attack?
Yeah, 9/13/2017.
Okay, so
Wednesday.
We're about 4 months out almost. Okay, how you doing? How you doing emotionally?
I'm continuing with my physicians and my providers, and I'm slowly getting better and hoping for a good, positive outcome.
Well, we will all pray for that. I found out when you walked in the studio, we have a mutual friend, one of your best buddies.
Yes, we do.
Has a couple of daughters that I coached, probably about 12 years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago. What wonderful kid! So we have good mutual friends out there.
Yes, he was he was a big part of my basketball development at the high school, and I went to what we all call an all basketball school, to where everyone that walked the halls was a basketball player, but it was the 12 best that got to play for Coach Ethorn.
Well, shout out to the Farrars. Great kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes, there you go. All right, Kevin, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you sharing your story with me first, and That means a lot to me, but I've thought so much of you ever since I heard your toughness and resilience, and keep you in our prayers and hope for a great outcome as you move through the legal system here.
Oh, thank you very much. And again, on behalf of myself and my family, we are so grateful and indebted for all the attention that you have brought to this horrific incident.
Yeah, I'm sorry that's what's brought us together. Chris, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
You bet, Dori. Thanks.
Okay. All right, Kevin Backlund, the UPS driver who was attacked, sharing his story with us. And we have a lot more to come. Fastest 15 is coming up next here on the Dori Monson Show.